Good morning, students. Now let us talk about the gate level abstraction modeling. We know that any actual hardware circuit can be modeled using 4 levels of abstraction in our Verilog HDL. So among the 4 levels of abstraction, we have the gate level abstraction, data flow, behavioral abstraction, as well as the switch level abstraction. These all are useful to model any actual hardware circuit. Now coming to the gate level abstraction, it is treated as a lowest level of abstraction. That means most of the digital design in this case is designed by instantiating a large number of logical gates or a basic gates. A logical circuit can be realized by instantiating the logical gates here. So most of the digital design is done at gate level. The circuit is described only in terms of a logical gates. So now we are going to see what are the basic logical gates that are available in our hardware. We know that a logic circuit can be designed by using a logical gates, but the Verilog supports these basic logic gates as predefined primitives. Like you can see here, I am having AND gate, NAND gate, OR, NOR, XOR, XNOR, buffer, NOT. All this comes under the category of a basic gates. So Verilog treats all these gates as a predefined primitives. That means these primitives are instantiated like modules. Like for example, how the module can be instantiated in the similar manner, a basic gate also can be instantiated. Like AND, I am instantiating AND. So I have given the name here A1 for its instance. Similarly NAND, and the instance name I have given here as NA1. So in this manner, I can able to instantiate all the gates. But these primitives are already predefined in Verilog, and they do not require any module definition. For example, if I am going to define 4x1 multiplexer, then I am generally going to define the module. But here whenever I am instantiating AND gate, NAND gate, or NOR, XOR or whatever the gate it is, I do not require the module definition exclusively. No need of providing or defining it, because the Verilog compiler already know its definition. So that is the purpose of it. Okay, so all the logical gates can be instantiated. So that means I am having a logical circuit here. Let me treat this one as a logical circuit, and in this logical circuit I am having only a gate, only a single gate, whose inputs are I1 and I2, and outputs are output port are out OUT. So this is instantiated in your stimulus block in this manner. Okay, let me go with one example here. I am having a logical circuit. This logical circuit is developed by one AND gate, one OR gate, and one NOT gate. So I am exclusively going to define this logical circuit. So let me keep the name of this logical circuit as module name as master, module master, whose inputs and outputs are A, B, C, X and Y. So exclusively defining what are the input ports and what are the output ports, and what are the intermediate variables I may use for my logic circuit design, that is wire E. So after this one, I need to define the module master. That means how the logic circuit or how the hardware is being realized. Like AND, I am having one AND gate, one OR gate, and one NOT gate. So that means I need to follow some sequence order. Like the OR gate cannot be evaluated until and unless it receives some input signals. So these input signals are generated as an output of this AND gate and NOT gate. So let me complete the AND gate and NOT gate. Then I will define the wire X and wire Y here. Okay, so AND G1, that is the output I will be writing here first. Output is E and inputs are A comma B. And for similarly NOT gate, in the instance name is G2, the output is Y and the input is C. So as soon as I receive E and Y signals, these are fed as input to my OR gate. So or G3 x comma e comma y and end module. So in this way I can complete the definition for my module whose name is master. Now so this is the scenario where no gate is having any delay, but in practical or in real circuits each and every gate will be definitely associated with certain delay. Like for example, AND gate may have a delay of 30 seconds, OR gate may have a delay of 20, and NOT gate may have a delay of 10 seconds. So in that case, how to design your Verilog HDL program? So I just keep this symbol for mentioning for indicating it. This symbol indicates that certain delay is associated with AND gate, and this delay is associated with OR gate, and this delay is associated with NOT gate. Okay, so I will explain you about the gate delays in detail in the further slides. So let us once again recap all these things. So the first terminal in the list of gate terminals is an output, and the other terminals are the inputs here. Okay, so whenever I am instantiating AND gate A1, the first terminal is output and the next terminals are IN1 and IN2 are the inputs here. So the output of a gate, that is this one, is evaluated as soon as one of the input changes. If one of the input is changing means as soon as if the gate is provided with 0 delay, output will be evaluated as soon as one of the input is changing here. So here I am having all 8 gates. So each and every gate may have 2 inputs, and some gates are having here 1 input. So now you may ask me a question, sir. Here I can able to see I1 and I2, and here out. All these are in small, and why you during the time of instantiation why you have taken these are out IN1 IN2 in capital forms? The same logic what I have explained in the earlier class, that is a logical gate is instantiated in the test bench module. The test bench module is having some signals. These signals are driven into the ports of your instance or instantiated gate. So the instantiated gate may have the input ports as small I1, small I2 and output port as OUT. But these are communicating with the environment in which this is surrounded with. So the basic gate is my module here, and this module is being instantiated inside my top level test bench. Okay, the top level test bench module is generating some signals like IN1, IN2, capital IN1, capital IN2, and it is driving the signals inside your input ports in this manner. And once the basic gate is evaluated its output, the output can be sent to output port here. So this output, this capital OUT is also a signal that will extract whatever the output the basic gate is generated. That means this out is used to verify the functionality of your design provided with the incoming input signals. So that means here the test bench module is driving some signals, and it is collecting the signal to verify the functionality of the design. Okay, so that is why IN1, IN2 and out have taken here. Okay, next similarly for NAND gate, OR gate, NOR, XOR, XNOR. So for buffer and NOT gate there will be one input and one output. So let me keep the instance name for buffer as B1 and for NOT gate as N1. So here one thing, when these all AND, NAND, OR, XOR, XNOR, buffer and NOT, these are predefined primitives. The definition we no need to define it exclusively, as the Verilog compiler already knows its definition. So we may give the instance name or the copy name, we may not also give the instance name or copy name. It is flexible. Okay, so sometimes what happens, so we can see sometimes three input gates or two input gates like that. For example, 3 input NAND gate is there. So a NAND gate is there that is having 3 inputs. So the basic rule is whenever you are writing any structural instruction, the first terminal in the port list should be a output port followed by all the three input ports. Okay, similarly for buffer or NOT gate also, if sometimes a buffer may have two outputs. So at that time, how to write the instruction in structural abstraction is buff, the instance name or the copy name, that is b1 underscore 2 out, and out1 out2. So this first thing is outputs have to be mentioned first in the terminal list, and next input have to be mentioned in this manner. Okay, so this is a brief view on the basic gates in our Verilog HDL, and how the truth table will be, because a test bench is generating some input signals, and these input signals are driven into the module, and the test bench is collecting the output from the module through its output signal and will check the functionality of the design. This is the one. So a signal, that means a test bench can generate a signals, and these signals are passed into the module or inside the module, means the signal may be a logic 0 or logic 1, or it may be a logic X, and it may also be a logic Z also, because we are having here in our Verilog HDL 4 values. Okay, and I am not talking about the strengths now of each and every values. Let me talk only on the values like 0, 1, X, Z. So if for the NAND gate, if I1 and I2 are treated as inputs, if the two inputs are 0, 0, what is the output? 0. And if the two inputs are X and 1, what is the output? X. And if the two inputs are Z and X, the output will be X only. So these are the truth table for your all the gates what I have discussed here. So this is the truth table. Okay, so in this manner you can observe each and every output, how it will be generated for the corresponding values of inputs. So here what happens is, sometimes an additional control signal can also be present on my buffer or NOT gate logics. So at that time, how to write or how to instantiate it if I am having one more control signal on the buffer and NOT gates is, so these gates, can I say this extra input, extra control signal is also treated as an input signal here. So these gates propagate only if their control signal is asserted. That means if the control signal is asserted, in the sense it is logic 1, and they propagate 0 if this control signal is not present, or if this control signal is de-asserted, or if the control signal is of logic 0. So for suppose you can take here my this is which gate? Buffer means input is equal to output, so it blindly follows whatever the input is there, the output will be received. So if 1 is asserted, that means control signal is present, logic 1 some kind of, so out is equal to 1 input. If 1 is de-asserted, that means not connected, okay, to this logical gate. That means this control signal is not connected to this logical gate. That means what will be the output? Output will be a high impedance value. It will not be even X. It will propagate Z. Okay. And similarly, so buff if 0. That means a bubble is connected here. That means a control signal is associated with a bubble. That means it is an inverted logic. So if the control is asserted, when I have to say the control is asserted here, when control input is having logic 0, that means this gate is asserted, the control signal is asserted here. So when control signal is equal to 1, that means this gate is de-asserted. So whenever any gate is de-asserted, means it will generate an output of high impedance value. Whenever a gate is asserted, it will be generating a value that is it follows blindly input for the buffer gate. Okay, and coming to here, when control signal is asserted, that means control equal to logic 1. When control signal is de-asserted here, means control equal to nothing, 0. Okay, so this is about buff gates. In the similar manner, you can able to analyze what the property of a not if one and not if not, how they are going to behave. Just because buffer it is a transparent logic, inverter is an inverting logic, so it is left to you. And the corresponding truth table for the buff if one and buff if not, not if one and not if not, can be traced in this corresponding truth table. Okay, so these are the instantiations of the two input gates, two input buffer gates or not gates, which is nothing but an additional control signal along with one input. So buff if one b1 instance name, buff if not b0 instance name. So whenever you are writing a structural abstraction, it is always advisable to mention the output port first and the next following with input ports. Similarly for the not if one and not if not. Okay, so let me see with one gate level multiplexer here. This gate level multiplexer is having 4 inputs. Those are I0, I1, I2, I3, and provided with 2 selection lines S1 and S0, and this is output. So how this 4 to 1 multiplexer can be modeled hardware, using hardware realization, how can it be modeled in gate level abstraction? So the basic logical circuit diagram for this 4x1 multiplexer is, it is associated or accommodates for AND gate and one OR gate and 2 NOT gate. Of course, you know how a 4x1 multiplexer can be realized. So let us simulate this program in our Verilog, in our Xilinx tool. So here the module name of my test bench is stimulus, and reg IN0, IN1, IN2, IN3. These are the signals that have to be driven inside the module, and what is this? The register S1 and S0, these are used to collect the output signals. Sorry, reg is also acting, is also serving as a signals that have to be driven into the module. So this is declared by using reg as a keyword, and output, this output is a output signal. This signal will be checking the functionality of my 4x1 multiplexer. So let me go with what is the design unit name. So module mux 421 is the design unit, whatever I have taken here. This is my design unit, module 4 mux 421. So inputs are I0, I1, I2, I3. Input is S1, S0. Output is OUT. So as it is structural abstraction, no need to declare exclusively out by using out reg as a keyword, not required. So next is intermediate. I am having S1 and S1n and S0n are the intermediate variables, like I can see here. S1n, S0n are the intermediate variables. That means these are the intermediate connection wires, that these wires are connecting between one gate to other gate. Okay, so apart from it, I am having wire Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3. These are serving as an output of each and every AND gate, and the output of every AND gate is connected as an input to your OR gate. So next is AND. So we know the logic of a 4x1 multiplexer, that is S1 bar S0 bar I0 plus S1 bar S0 I1 plus S1 S0 bar I2 plus S1 S0 I3. So that means I have to like the signals S1 S0, the state logic have to be available for the design, as well as the S1 bar, S0 bar logic also have to be available for the design to compute my required output. So that is why not S1 bar, S1 N indicates it is S1 bar, and S0 N indicates it is S0 bar. So what are the inputs of your AND gate here? I0, S1 bar, S0 bar, and the output is Y0. So and you need to write, first thing is output have to be written in the terminal list first, followed with inputs. So I0, S1 bar, S0 bar. Next for the next AND gate it is Y1, I1, S1 bar, S0. Next AND gate Y2 is the output, I2, S1, S0 bar, and Y3, I3, S1, S0. So as soon as you have evaluated with Y0, Y2, Y3, Y1, these are serving as an input for your OR gate in this manner. So the output of your OR gate is again out, that is OUT, or no need to provide exclusively the instance name, or out Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3. So end module. So just to save it. And coming to the test bench, so what is the module name here? I am having MUX421. That means the design unit I have to be instantiating in my test bench unit. So what is the design unit, test bench unit top module name I have given here as stimulus. It doesn't have any ports, so no terminal list is required. So inside my test bench, the test bench is generating the signals I1, IN1, IN2, IN3, IN0. These are to be passed as an input to your instantiated gate or instantiated module or any design. So MUX421 is your instantiated module, and the instance name for your module is MyMux. So this, however, this instantiated list have to follow with your port list during the time of your declaration. That means during the time of your module definition MUX421, in what order you are defining your port list, in the same order the signal list also should be in the same order during the time of instantiation. So these all are the signals, these are the input signals, and this is the output signal. Output next followed with inputs and selection lines. So initial begin, and I am driving some signals here. So 1 0 1 0, that means IN0 is 1, IN0 port will receive logic 1, IN1 port will receive logic 0, IN2 and IN3 will receive 1 and 0. So $display. So next for the selection line S1 S0 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, what will be the corresponding output? That will be observed here. So let me simulate the program and check the results. So remember, IN0 is 1, IN1 is 0, IN2 is 1, IN3 is 0, 1 0 1 0. These are the inputs for your 4-cross multiplexer. Instead of writing many a number of times $display, simply I can use $monitor. So let me check with the outputs here. Okay, so in the console window, I will show you how the outputs are. So inputs are what? 1 0 1 0. When selection line is 0 0, IN0 will be evaluated. Selection line is 0 1, IN1. For 1 0, IN2. For 1 1, IN3. So I have received the expected outputs are visible here. So the design unit is working properly. Okay, in this manner I can develop a 4x1 multiplexer in the Verilog gate level abstraction design in this manner. Okay, so this is how I can able to design. Okay, so let us move with one more example here. That is a 4-bit ripple carry adder. Of course, these two examples we might have discussed in the earlier session, but let us recap it once again. So this ripple carry adder, 4-bit ripple carry adder is made up of 4 full adders, 4 single bit full adders, and the logical circuit diagram for the single bit full adder is this one. That means a single bit full adder is having inputs A, B, C in, and the outputs are sum and carry out. So the gate level, the hardware realization for a single bit full adder is this one. That means I need to instantiate 2 XOR gates, 2 AND gate, and 1 more XOR gate. So this is how a single bit full adder can be developed. So as soon as a single bit full adder is developed, I can develop my 4-bit ripple carry adder by instantiating 4 copies or 4 number of times a single bit full adder circuit. So that means here single bit full adder require here inputs A0, B0 and Cin. Next full adder is requiring inputs A1, B1. The carry for this next full adder is taken from the carry out of your first bit full adder. Okay, in this manner a ripple carry adder circuit will be developed. Okay, so now let us realize it using Xilinx. So let us go with the simulation. So here I am having stimulus full adder FA1, yeah, stimulus block this is. So the top level is nothing but always it is a stimulus block or a test bench block. So the test bench block is generating 2 signals. A and B are the signals here, along with one more signal that is C in, and the output signals are sum and C out. So I am instantiating full add 4. That means it is actually a ripple carry adder. Full add 4 is nothing but it is a 4-bit ripple carry adder. The module name for the 4-bit ripple carry adder I have given as full add 4. Full add 4. So this only a single copy have to be instantiated in the test bench. Only a single copy I am instantiating, and the copy name or the module name or the instance name I have given here as FA1_4. So the signal list should match the port list during the time of port declarations. Okay, that means output followed with inputs. Here also I am having outputs followed with input. So initial begin $monitor, because instead of writing many number of times $display, I simply written here $monitor a single number of times. So next is for A, B, C, I am varying A value, B value and C value. That means here I am performing 4-bit ripple carry adder. This 4-bit ripple carry adder is having operands A and B. These are not a scalar operands, first thing. These are a vector operand, and A variable and B variable is of 4-bit width. That is why it is 4-bit decimal or 4-bit binary also you can write. And C is a scalar quantity again. Okay, so that is why during the time of signal declarations, A comma B signals are of vector quantity. It is of 4-bit width, and the sum is also a vector quantity, that is also 4-bit width. So here A equal to, for various values of A and B and C, how your sum and carry will be generated. So that is the agenda of 4-bit ripple carry adder. So before this one, so 4-bit ripple carry adder, what it does, it instantiates 4 copies of single bit full adder. So full add FA0, full add FA1, full add FA2, full add FA3. That means 4 times instantiation of single bit full adders have done, and FA0 is generating outputs sum0 C1, FA1 is generating outputs sum1 C2, sum2 C3, sum3, and this is not C4. This is my final carry out. So FA0 is having inputs A0, B0 and Cin. FA1 is having inputs A1, B1, C1. This is A2, B2, C3 and this is A3, B3 and C3. You can see in the diagram also for the each and every inputs for the corresponding full adders. So that means here I am calling 4 times or 4 copies of full adder has been called by my full add 4 module, but full add definition have to be provided somewhere else. Okay, so let me provide a definition for my full add here itself, full add, and how I have defined during the time of instantiation, how the port list have declared here. This signal list or the terminal list have to strictly follow the port list. During the time of instantiation, how the signal list is ordered or is positioned, in the same it is strictly have to obey with the port list during the time of your module definition. Like here, outputs are followed first, followed with inputs. Similarly, during the time of module instantiation, outputs have to be followed first and next inputs. So output sum comma cout, input this ABCN, and in between I am having wire S1, C1, C2. So I am having here also wire S1, C1 and S2. So these wires are not used to connect in between the gates. These are used to establish connection in between the gates. That means these are the variables. So these variables are of type again wires. Okay, so wire S1, C1 and S2. Okay, C2 or S2, whatever it is. So that means here I am having one XOR gate, two XOR gates, three XOR gates actually, two AND gates, and this is how the module definition for your single bit full adder. And this will be your module definition for your 4-bit triple carry adder. Once the definition is completed, you can instantiate it in the top level test bench module. So the test bench module is generating or driving some signals into your design unit, and it will be observing the output of your design unit through the output signals. Okay, so output signals will be generated as soon as your design unit is computing the input signals which it is going to receive. So let me simulate this program or the module. Okay, this is fine. So 2 plus 5 it is 7. Yeah, A is 2, B is 5. 2 plus 5 is 7. 9 plus 9 is 18. That means here 18, what will be the corresponding binary value for 18? It is 10010. So 10010 means carry out will be C out, and sum will be 0010. So that means 2. So it is 18, and next is 10 plus 5, it is 15. 15 means, okay, I am having here C in 1, because C in, if it is not 0, if it is not 1 means, if I consider it as a 0 means, I will be getting as 15. So 15 means I will be having here the value of F. The sum will be F and the carry out will be 1. But here I am having the carry in as 1. So so I will be having the value of 16. The corresponding binary value will be 1, 4 zeros. Okay. So in this manner, and of course you can see all the outputs in the console window also. So when a equal to so and so, or when a equal to 0 0 1 0, b equal to 0 1 0 0, and cin equal to 0. C out I have generated with 0 and sum equal to 0 1 1 1. Similarly, when a equal to 1 0 0 1 0 1 0, b equal to 4 ones, cin equal to 0, then I have got my sum as 1 0 0 1 and c out as 1. In this manner we can develop the gate level abstraction. We can model the 4-bit triple carry adder using gate level abstraction in this manner. Okay, now let us discuss the next concept in our gate level modeling, that is gate delays. So what is actually the gate delay? We know that in practical analysis or in practical realizations, each and every logical gate is associated with a certain delay in it. So that means like if I am passing from you can take an example. If you are passing from input to output, definitely you are going to consume certain amount of time to reach the output. In the ideal case, as soon as you enter inside into the house, you will be exiting from the house at the same time. That is ideal case. But in practical case, what happens, certain time will be there, certain time is generally happens to receive the output. Okay, so that is nothing but I can say each and every logical gate is having certain delay to produce the output. So this terminology we are going to say it is a gate delays. So gate delays allows the Verilog user to specify how much is the delay through the logical circuit. So because the logical circuit is developed by many number of logical gate, each and every logical gate is having certain delays. So if I know certain delays for each and every logical gate, I can able to estimate how much time this logical circuit is consuming to produce the required output. I can able to tell. Okay, so this is the concept of gate delays. So this gate delays is specified by the symbol hash. Okay, number symbol, hash symbol to specify any gate delay, and this is specified in terms of time unit. So what is this time unit? This time unit is nothing but it is a time scale compilator directive. So this time scale compilator directive is given with the syntax like this. So tick time scale 1 nanosecond / 100 picoseconds. So I will explain about the time scale concept in detail in the further lectures, but as of now, so what is this time scale and how it is associated with the gate delays? This is the thing you have to know it. Okay, in this example, for example, the output of your AND gate is E and the input for your AND gates are A and B. That means 5 amount of time units is required for the output to be produced at the AND gate. That means if the AND gate have to produce the output, 5 time units this AND gate consumes as soon as it receives the inputs. So what is the time unit? So 5 time units means here. So here the time unit is 5 nanoseconds. Tick time scale. This is 1 nanosecond / 100 picoseconds. That means that AND gate is consuming 5 nanoseconds amount of time. That is what the meaning of this gate delay for that example. Okay, so again there are 3 types of delays for a signal to propagate from the input to the output of any primitive logical gate. So these 3 types of delays are nothing but a rise delay, a fall delay, a turn off delay. The rise delay is, I don't know what is the current output of my logical gate. Okay, the rise delay gives the concept that is, the gate output will have a transition to logical one from its previous value. I don't know, its previous value may be a logic 0, or it may be a logic X, or it may be a logic Z. From its previous value, if the gate output is coming to logic 1, the gate output is produced as logic 1 from its previous value, we call it as a rise delay. Okay, so this is the one, and the time taken to have a transition from one logic state to other logical state is nothing but rise time delay. Here it is. Then what is the fall delay? The fall delay is nothing but, it is the gate output transition to a logic 0 from any other value, that means previously my output of a gate may have a logic 1, or may have a logic X or logic Z as its output, but now my output of a logical gate is logic 0. That means it is having a transition from certain values to certain other value. This certain other value is nothing but logic 0. That means it is a falling value. So how much amount of time it is taking to fall from certain value to logic 0 is nothing but the fall delay. And the turn off delay is nothing but, it is simply a gate output transition to a high impedance value. In fact, that is a logic Z. So that means it is not connected to anything. The output of a gate is not connected to anything. Okay. So again, these delays are also specified. Like for example, if I am having a logical gate, like let me take the same example. This logical gate is there, AND gate. Only one delay is specified. So if one delay is only specified, means I can consider this delay value as rise delay, fall delay, and turn off delay. For example, if two delays are present, so if two delays are present, means I can refer one delay as a rise delay and the second delay as a fall delay, and the turn off delay is the minimum of the rise delay and fall delay. And if for suppose three delays are specified in a logical gate, okay, so one delay will be rise delay, next one is fall, and turn off will be the third delay. If no delay is specified, the default value of the delay that a logical gate is consuming is 0. So let me explain with this one. So gate delays, if only one delay is present, that means hash phi is only present. This phi e can be considered it as a rise delay, fall delay, and turn off delay. Next is 4,6, two delays are mentioned here. So I will consider rise delay as 4, fall delay as 6, and turn off delay is the minimum of these two, that is 4. And if I am having three delays like this, that means one delay is rise, next is fall, and next is turn off delay. So in this way I can able to find what will be the rise or fall or turn off delays. Okay, so some or the other times what happens is, during the time of IC fabrication process variations, each and every delay is also associated with a minimum value, a typical value, as well as the maximum value. These three minimum, typical, maximum values are used to model the devices, because each and every logical gate may have a delay variation from minimum, typical, as well as the maximum range. So for example, from Hyderabad to Basar train journey, typically it consumes 4.5 hours. The same journey, I can say that the minimum time required to travel from Hyderabad to Basar train journey is 4 hours. That means here the minimum time is 4 hours, typical time is 4.5 hours, and the maximum time is 5 hours. In this way, I can able to give an example. Okay, similarly for the gate also, if the gate is having certain delay, that means to generate the output for a gate, it has to consume certain amount of time to travel from one location to other location. Definitely a time consumption is required. So the time consumption or the delay, it may be varying from minimum value, or it may be of maximum value, or it may also have a typical value. So in the similar manner, our logical gates also associate with the same concept. Okay, so like I have mentioned here only one delay. You can able to find here, uh, where is the zoom option, view, zoom in, yes, yeah. So and ash indicates it is a delay identification. For delay identification we are using ash 4:5:6. That means here only one delay is provided. So if only one delay is provided, means I can consider it may be a rise delay, fall delay, or turn off delay. Why? Because rise delay, fall delay, and turn off delay are separated with commas. But again, these delays have a minimum, typical, and maximum values also. Like each and every delay. So here I can able to find, I mean I cannot able to see any comma. That means only one delay is specified. So let me consider it is a rise delay for suppose. That means this delay is having a minimum value of 4, typical value of, a maximum value of 6, and typical value of 5, in this way, in this manner, minimum, typical, and maximum. So here in this delay specification I can able to find a gamma. That means the first one is a rise delay, and the second one is the fall delay, and the turn off delay is minimum of these two delays. And again, for the rise delay, the minimum value is 3, the typical value is 4, and the maximum value is 5. Similarly for the fall delay also. And the last one is, I have here found 2 commas. That means 3 delays are specified here: rise delay, fall delay, and turn off delay. And for the rise delay, the minimum value is this one, typical value is this one, and the maximum value is this one. In this manner, a delays are associated for modeling our hardware circuits. So let me take one practical example how these delays are having an impact in producing the outputs, for which I am taking here a module example D. Let me keep the module name as some D. Okay, so this D module is developed by instantiating 2 gates. One gate is AND gate, and the second gate is OR gate. So AND gate is connected to OR gate by using a wire. Let me keep the name of the wire as E. E is the wire name, and E produces the output. E we immediately will not produces the output, because this logical gate and is having certain amount of delay. This gate is consuming certain amount of time to produce the output. So this is 5 time units. It may be 5 nanoseconds or 5 picoseconds. So this time unit is decided by your timescale compiler directive. So OR gate is also associated with certain delay, that is 4 time units. So output will not be generated as soon as you apply the inputs. Certain time will be there. So to evaluate the output. So this process which consumes certain amount of time to get the output. So basically the logical gates only consumes the amount of time to get the output. So this is my simulation waveform window. I will explain you this simulation waveform window later. First let me move with it. Xilinx experiment. So file, new project. D. So again you can see here this module is surrounded with an environment, that is test bench, and let me keep the test bench name as stimulus. So stimulus is the name that I have given here, stimulus, module stimulus, and the signals of the test bench are capital A, capital B, capital C, and the output signal is OUT. This output signal is verifying the functionality of the design. So the input ports for my module are A, B, C, and the output port is OUT. So instantiate your design unit, that is D. The module name I have given here as capital D. So instantiating my design unit D in the instance name as D1, and the signal list should match with the port list during the time of your declaration of your module, and for certain inputs what will be the expected output. For ABC as the inputs, what will be the output, what will be the value of output your design unit is going to generate. So let me simulate this program once. I did not given any dollar display or dollar monitor in the test bench. That is why I didn't find any inputs and output changes here in the console window. Without giving dollar display and dollar monitor, I cannot able to find the console window. Okay, so here these are the simulation results. ABC for 000. This is the thing. I will explain this waveform diagram through the slide. So before it, you need to remember this diagram. E will be getting the output after 5 seconds. Like for example, A and B, now if I have given as 1 and 1, E will be getting 1 after 5 seconds, not immediately. And C, if I have given 1 1 1 for suppose, immediately output will not be generated. Okay, after 4 seconds only it will be generated. Like if I given here 1 1 1, so 1 will be the input for your OR gate. If one of the input of your OR gate is logic 1, it will ignore simply the second input, because one input of your OR logic gate is 1 means definitely the output will be evaluated as out. Okay, so it will wait after 4 seconds. Immediately output will not be equal to C. So let me check it here. ABC up to 10 seconds. A is having logic 0, B is having logic 0, and C is also having logic 0. Fine. After 10 seconds, A and B will be having a transition to logic 1. A, B, C having a transition to logic 1. So according to the circuit diagram, after 10 seconds A and B are having a logic 1 transition, means output E will be having a transition to logic 1 after 15 seconds, because 5 units of time has been consumed by this gate. You can see here after 15 seconds. So after 15 seconds E will be having an output of logic 1. Okay, now that means, can I say that up to first 5 seconds my output of logical gate is unknown, right? Or the output of AND gate is unknown? Yes, up to 5 seconds the output of your AND gate is unknown. Okay, next. Now the output of my OR gate is unknown up to 9 seconds. Why up to 9 seconds? Means this logical gate OR gate is dependent on this input E and this input C, E and C. So once it receives E and C value, after that output will be evaluated after 4 seconds. That means for up to 9 seconds the output of your OR gate is unknown. Okay. So A, B, C have a logical transition to logic 1, have a transition to logic 1 after 10 seconds. So E will be having a logical transition after waiting for 5 more seconds, it will have a logical transition. That means at 15 seconds it will be to logic 1. So for how much amount of time E will be at logic 1 is completely dependent on your A and B. So for how much amount of time A and B will be, both will be logic 1, then only E will be logic 1. If any of the A and B are logic 0 means definitely E will be coming to logic 0 state. So A and B only I need to focus. So A started logic 1 and it ended, and B started logic 1 at 10 seconds and it ended here. So A and B from 10 to 20, that means for 10 seconds of time it is in logic 1. That means E also will be logic 1 up to 10 seconds amount of time. That means after 15 plus 10 up to 25 seconds E will be in logic 1 state. Okay. Now coming to here. So this OR gate is completely dependent on E input as well as C input. So this is my out. This out is dependent on C input as well as E input. So from 10 to okay, now how I have to here understand is C is having a logical transition to logic 1 after 10 seconds. That means immediately C is having logic 1 means immediately output have to also have logic 1. But here because of the delay provided by the OR gate, after 4 seconds C will be, output will be coming to logic 1 after 4 seconds. So C started logic 1 at 10 seconds. That means out will start its logic 1 at 14 seconds here. So at 14 seconds it will rise to logic 1. Okay. Now so the out signal is completely dependent on C signal as well as E signal. That means here at this time, at this 10th second, C is logic 1, E is logic 0. So this is output is nothing but OR gate of C and E. So logic 1 plus logic 0 is logic 1 only. So 10 means 10 plus 4 14. So up to 14, after 14 also it is logic 1 only. So at 10th second, logic 1 plus logic 0 is logic 1. So it is output will be extracted after 14 seconds. Now at 15 seconds you see C is logic 1, E is also logic 1. So logic 1 plus logic 1, it is also a logic 1. So 15 plus 4, 19. After 19 seconds also, output out is logic 1. Okay. At 20 seconds you observe C is logic 0, E is logic 1. So C is logic 0 and E is logic 1 means after 24 seconds. After 24 seconds is also a logic 1. So for how long it will be logic 1? That depends completely on C and E. So C is logic 0 for 5 seconds from 20 to 25. E is logic 1 for 5 seconds from 20 to 25. So here out E is nothing but it is 4 time delay of your E signal. So here from 24 to 29 for 5 seconds. For 5 seconds it will be logic 1. Output out will be logic 1 for 5 more seconds. That means from 24 to 29 seconds your out is logic 1. Why? Because from 20 to 25 your C and E are logic 0 and logic 1. So C logic OR with E I am getting out from 20 to 25. So starting is 20 and ending is 25. So out will be started at 24, out will be ended at 29. So 24 to 29 it will be logic 1. So after that it will come to logic 0. Why? Because C and E signals are logic zeros. When both are logic 0, the output of your OR gate is also logic 0. So this is the diagram for that one. In this way, the delays will be definitely going to have an impact in any logic circuit design or development. So this is about the gate level abstractions and how the delays are associated in it. So thank you for the day.